Guys, please check your audio and video settings, please, guys. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. In other day's class, I was talking about what, guys? Various persistence technologies that are there in Java. Come on. Okay, guys. Now listen. We already started understanding Spring Data JPA. Yes, where is that Spring Data JPA video, guys? Where is the document? Where is the document? 29th. 29th, I didn't share. It's in different folder. Acha, got it. It's my mistake. Fine, boss. First, we understood Java application can interact with what? Database software, either by using JDBC or OR mapping. Then we understood what is OR mapping. What is OR mapping, guys? Let me have a quick reason. The process of mapping Java classes with the DB tables, right? Java classes with DB tables and member variables of Java classes with columns of DB tables. Are you listening my statement, guys? And making objects of Java classes representing DB table records, having synchronization between them is called what? OR mapping. Is that clear? Is definitely called what? URL mapping. Okay, guys. Next one. After that, JDBC persistence logic, what is the main drawback? We use SQL queries there. SQL queries are database software dependent persistence logic, right? Okay. Next. The OR mapping persistence logic is what? Object-based database software independent persistence logic, because there are no SQL queries. Then we understood how does OR mapping happens. Then we have seen list of ORM softwares that are there in the market, right? Okay. Then we have analyzed in which situation we should go for JDBC, in which situation we should go for OR mapping. Yes, if your application is getting huge amount of data batch by batch, then prefer going for what? Okay, JDBC. Because if you use OR mapping, something like Hibernate there, to represent multiple records, we need to create multiple number of huge number of objects in what? Application. And in Java, object creation is a costly affair, guys. And there is a possibility of system crash. Are you getting my point? Okay. So in those applications, you prefer working with JDBC. If there is a need of processing less than 100 records at a time, so creating 100 objects at a time, representing 100 records is not a big problem. That too, we can enjoy other benefits that are there in OR mapping, like what? Database portability for persistence logic development, caching, versioning, time stamping, etc., etc. We can happily take other benefits also. For that, we can think about going for what? For that, we can think about going for what? Hibernate kind of ORM software. Instead of using plain JDBC directly, prefer Spring JDBC. It also allows us to develop JDBC style persistence logic, but definitely provides abstraction. Instead of using plain ORM software, you can think about think about working with what? Either Spring ORM or Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA is faster and easy to work with, boss. Okay, next one. If data is coming for batch processing and it is huge and you want to farm and it is there in different formats, then you can think about working with the Spring Batch also. Whatever work you are doing with the JDBC, same thing you can think about doing with what? Spring Batch also. Okay, guys. If data is beyond processing capacity and storing capacity in a single database software or what? Single computer, then think about working with a big data framework, which makes us to use networks of computer to store the data and process the data. And all big applications are nowadays preferring what? Big data frameworks. Then we discussed about two types of database software. Big data frameworks are not just data storage technologies, they are also data processing technologies, guys. Right, different types of database software. Number one, SQL. Number two, NoSQL. So when should we go for SQL? When should we go for NoSQL? Our regular RDBMS database softwares are called SQL database software, like Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL. Yes, you have a data, and the data is having fixed structure. That means fixed schema. And you can have number of columns. Then think about going for what? RDBMS database software, nothing but SQL database software. Employee with 30 records, 30 values maximum. Employee will not be having more than 30 values at maximum. So then take a table with 30 columns, but one problem is there. First employee, all 30 details are there. Okay, first record fill up with all the column. Second employee is having only 4 details. Okay, second record of employee is having only 4 column values, not the 26 columns. Are you listening my statement? So 26 columns are wasted. Third employee is having what? 15 details. Another 15 columns are wasted. Okay, that's the biggest problem with what? SQL database software. But that's what I'm trying to say. When you have a fixed structure, fixed schema, and okay, data is not growing dynamically, then only think about going for SQL database software. No, your application data is growing dynamically. Sometimes 10 details, sometimes 20 details, sometimes 30 details. For example, one customer is having only 4 details. One customer is giving 100 details. Then taking and fixed structure is not there. Fixed schema is not there. then prefer working with what? NoSQL database software. Why? Because in NoSQL database software, and we don't have tables, rows, and all this stuff. So different NoSQL database software stores data in different formats. For example, you take MongoDB, it will try to store data in the form of documents. It will try to take the data in what? Document. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Okay. So document one, 5 details of customer one, document two, 10 details of customer two. So each document can have your choice number of what? Fields, and data can grow dynamically, guys. Okay. So, and no wastage of memory allocations will be there. So that's why when data is growing dynamically, when data is not having fixed structure, so common structure and schema generation is not possible, then think about going for what? NoSQL database software. Now listen to actual discussion of today. This is going to be very interesting. Okay. June 30th. Okay. Need of Spring data. Need of Spring data module. Yeah, I'm changing date. Don't worry. I realized. Okay. Need of Spring data module. Everyone focus and concentrate. Before arrival of Spring data module, guys. Spring data module. The story is this one, boss. The story is this. Yeah. From Java application, if you want to talk with RDBMS database softwares, RDBMS database software, or SQL database software. Okay, we can use okay, I will use Spring application only because I am talking about. We can use what concept, guys? Spring JDBC. We can use Spring JDBC, but this is in what style, guys? This is in what style? JDBC style. Okay, guys. Next, say paste. Now listen carefully. If Spring application wants to talk with RDBMS database software, okay, in OR mapping style. What style, guys? Then we have a Spring ORM. This interaction will happen what? OR mapping. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Now listen. If Spring application wants to use MongoDB database software, we should use MongoDB driver, guys. Separate MongoDB API. Separate individual MongoDB API we have to use. If Spring application wants to talk with Couch database, this is what, guys? NoSQL database software, guys. Yes. Or Mr. Pawan, can't you see the heading first? Before arrival of Spring data module. Pawan, you have to be active in the classroom, Mr. Pawan. You always ask this kind of nonsense questions. Okay. Next. Okay, which is again what? NoSQL database software. So this time I will take Cassandra. Okay, Cassandra is also a bit popular, which is NoSQL database software, guys. NoSQL database software. Cassandra API. Cassandra API. Separate API. Its own API, guys. Plus MongoDB driver. We have a MongoDB driver also there, boss. MongoDB driver. Yes, boss. Cassandra API plus Cassandra driver. Okay, Cassandra driver. Are you listening my statement, boss? Okay, Cassandra driver. Like this, to interact with the different things, we have different options. To interact with the different things, we have different options. Are you listening my statement, guys? Okay, guys. Note. Spring is not having not having any module to interact with NoSQL database software. NoSQL database software before the arrival of what is that? Spring data module. That's the point one you have to observe. Spring data module. Next. Before the arrival of Spring data module, okay, there is no single unified mechanism. There is no single unified mechanism to talk with both SQL and NoSQL database softwares from Spring. Okay. That means we need to use different APIs to interact with okay, different types of tell me guys, SQL or NoSQL database softwares. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Okay. So Spring Data, what is that? Spring Data provides okay, single unified model to interact with both SQL and NoSQL database software. SQL and NoSQL database software, okay, by providing lots of submodules. Array, listen, I keep on giving this example for other scenarios also, now you remember. To operate TV remote, to operate DTH device, remote, to operate AC remote. Instead of remembering how to operate these many remotes, it's better to go for what? Universal remote or not? Universal remote, guys. And if you have one universal remote, using that remote, I can operate TV, I can operate DTH, I can operate what? AC, I can operate geyser, I can operate lights, or you can think about going for home automation also. You can think about going for home automation. Home automation means we can control all the lights, all the devices of the home from mobile device. What do you say, guys? From mobile device, you can control all the things or not? Alexa, switch on lights. Alexa, switch on TV. So this comes under what? Home automation. So using one mobile device, we can control all the electrical devices, electronic devices of the home. So that is also what? Single unified model to control different types of devices in our home or not. And Spring Data is also like that. Spring Data is also like that. Are you getting my point? Spring Data is like home automation devices, or Spring Data is like what? Universal remote. So instead of working with the plain JDBC, Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, MongoDB API, Cassandra API, are you listening individually? You think about working with one Spring Data module, which is having a lot of sub modules. Are you listening my statement, guys? So they will take care of interaction with everything. Okay, now listen. One small diagram is there. Let me share with you people. Copy this. This one diagram speaks everything. Okay, now listen. Relational means what, guys? SQL database softwares. Non-relational means what, guys? No SQL database softwares. No SQL database softwares. Now you observe, Spring Data is able to talk with what? CouchDB, MongoDB, Cassandra, Neo4j, okay, SOLR, Redis, all these are there. Same Spring Data is able to use JPA and JDBC to interact with what? Relational database softwares. Are you observing that one, guys? Come on. Okay. No, actually I magnified, that's why it has become blur, guys. Like, originally it is nice. Originally it is nice. Okay. So Spring Data is providing abstraction on different technologies and provides unified model to interact with both SQL and NoSQL database softwares. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Okay. So what is this? Spring Data. Actually, unnecessarily people highlight Spring Data, JPA kind of thing. No. Think about this. Spring Data is the module name. In that one, sub-modules are there. And few sub-modules are very popular. And in that one, Spring Data JPA is very popular sub-module. Are you getting my point there, guys? Now tell me here. Spring Data module provides abstraction on multiple technologies and frameworks to simplify the interaction with both SQL and NoSQL database softwares in the unified model environment. Okay, guys. Now listen. Important submodules of Submodules of Spring Data module. Number one, Spring Data JPA. Number two, Spring Data JDBC. Now listen carefully. Provides abstraction on come on guys, ORM frameworks. Yes, provides abstraction on JDBC technology. What guys? JDBC technology. Okay, and listen, Spring Data JDBC is different from Spring JDBC. Are you understanding? Spring Data JDBC is different, Spring JDBC is different. Okay, next, Spring Data MongoDB. Spring Data MongoDB. Yes, provides abstraction on MongoDB API. Abstraction on MongoDB API. Yes. Right. And we have a lot of modules like this, guys. And let me surprise you by giving all the modules. If you look at the home page of Spring Data, you'll surprise so many modules are there. Okay, Spring Data modules. Spring Data modules. See guys, these many are there. Let me click on it. Features. Now listen. Main modules. Spring Data Common, Spring Data JDBC, Spring Data JDBC Extension, Spring Data JPA, Spring Data Key Value, Spring Data LDAP, Spring Data MongoDB, Spring Data Redis, Spring Data REST, Spring Data Apache Cassandra, Spring Data Apache Goyode, Spring Data Pivotal Gemfire. These are popular modules, guys. Now listen, community modules. Community means specific to each environment. These many are there. Related modules also there. So now tell me, what Spring Data is a bigger module or smaller module? At least you agree with me. Spring Data is very, very bigger one or not? Come on, guys. Okay, let me copy them. Say paste. Okay. So out of these many things, what we are going to concentrate? We are going to concentrate Spring Data JPA, and we are going to concentrate Spring Data MongoDB. These are the two modules that we are going to concentrate. Understanding, and industry is dealing with these two modules only as of now. All right. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Right. So that means this is to interact with the SQL database softwares, and this is to interact with what? This is to interact with what? Spring Data MongoDB. Okay. Are Spring Data REST? Spring Data REST is different, boss. Spring Data REST is different. Spring REST is different. Spring Data REST is different. So don't bring that into picture, because that is somewhat related to hypermedia. somewhat related to hypermedia. Array, it's a waste spending time on Spring Data JDBC. If needed, I'll try to conduct 1-2 sessions on it, but nowadays no one is using it. At Spring Data level, no one is using it directly. I hope you are understanding. Okay, that's why rather we'll spend some time on Spring Batch. Rather, we can spend some time on Spring Batch. Got the point or not? Okay. Yes, Spring JDBC videos I have to share, I will share. Don't worry. Can you focus on subject? That's a small work. I'm just not spending time to categorize the things. That is going out of my brain. Prashad Kumar, just now I said Spring Data REST is different from Spring REST. Okay, see, hypermedia driven RESTful resources, that is a different one. Okay, please. Right, boss. Right, boss. So shall we get into the discussions now? Okay, now let us assume this is our Spring application or Spring Boot application, boss. Everyone should focus, guys. Spring application or Spring Boot application. Spring application or Spring Boot application. But before that, what is JPA we should understand. What is JPA? It is a software specification providing rules and guidelines. To develop ORM softwares. All ORM softwares are given based on rules and guidelines of to develop ORM softwares like Hibernate, IBTs, and etc. Like Hibernate, IBTs, and etc. So Sun Microsystem or Oracle Corporation has given this JPA, boss. Sun Microsystem or Oracle Corporation has given this JPA, having rules and guidelines to create ORM softwares, boss. JPA as a specification, Java Persistence API. Java Persistence API. Okay. So as a specification means contains rules and guidelines. Rules must be followed, guidelines can be there. Okay, there is a company called Red Hat, taken those rules and guidelines, developed Hibernate. There is a company called Apache, taken those rules and guidelines, developed what? IBTs. There is a company called Eclipse, taken those rules and guidelines and developed Eclipse Link. Developed what? Eclipse Link. Right, boss. Right. There are many things, many people are there. Okay, Red Hat. Now there is another initially it is Soft-Tree, guys. Later it is acquired by Red Hat. Okay, has given what? Hibernate. Next. Okay. So there's another company called Oracle Corporation. Oracle Corporation itself has given one more ORM software called TopLink. Yes. Next, there is one more organization called Eclipse. Eclipse, not only IDE was nowadays, it is into many places. Eclipse Link. And next one, so there is IBTs. Apache company is giving one more thing called IBTs. Many are there. I'm just listing few things. Okay. IBTs. Yes, guys. IBTs. Is that clear? Right. Now listen. Hibernate story is little bit different, boss. I will tell. First, Hibernate became popular, and by seeing Hibernate, other people started developing ORM software. Then Sun Microsystem realized, "Arey, if everyone designs ORM software in their own style, moving from one ORM to another ORM becomes very horrible." Then Sun Microsystem realized and given JPA specification. So that means first product is hit. By seeing that product hit, Sun Microsystem started providing rules and guidelines. It's something like this. It's something like this, guys. First, Airtel network came into the market providing what? Mobile services, telecommunication services in private sector. In private sector. Everyone, please listen carefully. Okay. Then Airtel is not following so many rules and guidelines, killing the market of BSNL. So then central government thought that, okay, there should be one regulatory authority controlling all these telecommunication companies, controlling all these telecommunication. Then TRI is formed. Then TRI is formed. First TRI is not formed, guys. Listen. First TRI is not formed. There is a ministry called Telecommunication Ministry. Under ministry, telecommunication business used to happen. But Airtel came, invested a lot of money, got into the people's business very rigorously by investing crores of rupees. So then BSNL started complaining about Airtel activities. Airtel started complaining about what? BSNL activities. Customers also started complaining about both companies' activities. Then they realized, oh, there should be one regulatory authority providing rules and guidelines. That is what TRI. That is what TRI. Similarly, for insurance companies, IRDA is there. IRDA is there. And for different organizations, we have different things, boss. For banks and financial companies, we have RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Got the point or not? Okay. Right. So this one. Next one. What is the difference between ORM and JPA? ORM mapping and JPA. Anyone? What is difference between ORM mapping and JPA? Okay. ORM mapping is a style of persistence logic development. ORM mapping is a style of persistence logic development. Are you understanding my point? Okay. For that style, JPA provides for that style of programming. Come on, guys. JPA provides rules and guidelines. Rules and guidelines to vendor companies. Vendor company to create ORM softwares. Okay, to create ORM softwares. Now listen, guys. I'll give a small example to understand this. Okay. Business in insurance, life insurance, is one mode of business. Yes or no? Business can be done in a number of sectors, guys. Business in life insurance is one mode of business. Okay. ORM. That is ORM. Okay. Who is providing rules and guidelines? IRDA. Insurance Regulatory Authority of India. Insurance Regulatory Authority. Whatever it is. Insurance Regulatory 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 Development Authority. Whatever it is, guys. Authority is there. It is like a JPA. JPA is providing. Now listen, by following these authority rules and guidelines, in India, so many companies are doing business in insurance sector or not, are offering life insurance companies or not. LIC is one among them. Okay, SBI Life is one among them. Yes or no? Na? Next one. Tell me other popular insurance companies in India, guys. No, names. They have even tie up with some foreign companies. Tata, AIA, Max Life, HDF Life. Right. Okay, these are the various insurance companies, boss. Okay, some of these companies are doing direct business. Some of these companies are having tie-up with foreign companies, and they are doing business in India because central government has kept restriction. No foreign company can do insurance business directly on Indians. That's why they started keeping tie-up with local companies and both together doing business. That's why observe, okay, our Indian name will be there. One funny, when very complex or what surprising foreign company name will be there. Yes or no? Na? Okay. Tata AA. Tata is one company, AA is a foreign company, boss. So let it be. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. I hope you are understanding difference between ORM and JPA. ORM and JPA. This is like JPA. And all these are like ORM frameworks. These are like ORM frameworks, guys. These are like ORM frameworks. ORM frameworks. So final conclusion from my side is ORM is concept of, what is this? Concept of persistence logic development. Okay, concept of persistence. JPA is programming rules and guidelines. Programming rules and guidelines for ORM persistence logic development. Next, ORM frameworks. What, guys? ORM frameworks. Okay, are real softwares or tools. Come on, guys. Real softwares or tools. Okay, that allows to implement ORM persistence logic. ORM persistence logic according to JPA rules and guidelines. According to JPA rules and guidelines. Rules and guidelines. Okay, guys. Are you understanding my statement, boss? Right. Okay. Here LIC also exclusive. One exceptional case is there. First LIC came, they started doing business for 50, 60 years, no competitor for LIC. Then all of a sudden central government decided, we should allow other companies also to do business in what? To do business in what? Are you understanding my statement? Insurance sector, then SBI Life, then ICICI Prudentials, then Tata AII, so many things people came. So then government, there should be one monitoring mechanism, regulatory mechanism controlling all these insurance companies, providing rules and guidelines for insurance companies. Then IRDA came. And this is the better example compared to what? What is the telecommunication business, boss? LIC is what? Before IRDA, LIC is there. After IRDA formation also, LIC is there. And still in India, LIC is the market leader. No doubt in that. Yes, SEBI is for share market, guys. Okay, SEBI is for share market. And Shashi Bhushan Jha, these are only on ORM frameworks, not on NoSQL. For NoSQL, different. Now listen what I'm trying. It is Spring application or Spring Boot application, boss. There, if that is using Spring Data JPA, listen, clarity is very important. That uses Spring Data JPA. This Spring Data JPA uses the Spring Data JPA internally uses Spring ORM. Yes, internally uses Spring ORM, guys. The Spring ORM internally uses one or other ORM framework. ORM framework with JPA. Come on, like Hibernate, guys. Like Hibernate. Like Hibernate. Now listen. This Hibernate internally uses JDBC technology. JDBC technology. This Hibernate internal uses JDBC technology. JDBC technology uses JDBC driver software. JDBC driver software. And this will talk with what? Database software. This will seriously, literally talk with what? Database software. Literally talk with database software. So this is the basic story that will happen, boss. Right? See, ultimately, if someone wants to talk with the database software from Java, at the end JDBC should be there, and that JDBC should send SQL queries to database software. You may do a number of dances in a number of layers by enjoying abstraction. But ultimately, at the end, come on, guys, JDBC has to talk with what? JDBC code with SQL query comes into picture to send and execute SQL queries in database software. This much hangama is there. I hope you convinced with this diagram, guys. In what order these abstractions are coming? Okay, right. But some more things are there. Let me explain this. Okay, guys. There is something called Spring Data JDBC. There is something called Spring Data JDBC that internal uses Spring JDBC, and they will that internally comes under JDBC technology. This internal uses plain JDBC, guys. Spring Data JDBC, guys. Yes. This internal uses Spring JDBC. Are you listening my statement? Yes. Okay. Yes. Here also one Spring or Spring Boot. Here also we are having what? Spring application or Spring Boot application. Spring application or Spring Boot application. Spring application or Spring Boot application. Yes, guys. Now listen carefully, boss. Here, what is the OR mapping persistence logic? Here we are going to enjoy OR mapping persistence logic. And here what we are going to enjoy? JDBC style persistence logic. JDBC style persistence logic. Is that clear, my dears? Okay. Now listen. Okay. First observe plain JDBC code. Plain JDBC code. Now I'll see. Sir, we have a plain JDBC, we have a Spring JDBC, we have a plain Hibernate, we have a Spring ORM, we have a Spring Data JPA. What is the difference of writing persistence logic in all these things? Okay, plain JDBC code. That means JDBC technology code, guys. JDBC technology code. Yes. Now listen. Load driver class, JDBC driver class. I don't give code, I will just ask you idea. Now tell me here. You will get real reason why we should learn Spring Data JPA today. Wait. Load JDBC driver class, guys. Now tell me. Load JDBC driver class. Establish the connection. Establish the connection. Come on. Create statement. Create statement. Send and execute SQL query. Query to database software. Next. Gather result. Gather SQL query results and process them and close JDBC objects, including connection. Okay, handle exceptions. Handle exceptions. Okay, handle exceptions. Perform transaction management. Come on, guys. Perform transaction management. Now tell me, guys, all are same, guys. This is common code. This is common code. Application to application, only these logics will change. What do you say, boss? What do you say? Common logics, right? Yes, here also common logics. Are you listening my statement? Okay, here what? Application specific logics. So here programmer is forced to write both common logics and application specific logics or not. Okay, developer should write both common logics and application specific logics. Okay. Array, these common logics represent what code, guys? Boilerplate code, right? Boilerplate code problem. What is the biggest problem with the plain JDBC, guys? Boilerplate code problem. What is boilerplate? What is boilerplate code? The code that repeats. The code that repeats across the multiple parts of the project, either with no changes, come on guys, or with minor changes. Like simple statement may replace with the prepared statements. Okay, minor statements. Either with a minor. What is this? Either with no changes or with what? Minor changes. Is called boilerplate code. Boilerplate code. Are you listening my statement, boss? Right. This is the story with plain JDBC. What is the biggest problem? Boilerplate code is the biggest problem. Are you listening my statement, boss? Okay. Now listen. Okay. Plain Hibernate code, guys. Plain Hibernate code. Everyone should focus. Yeah, what is this? Create configuration class object, right? Create configuration class object. Create session factory object. Create session object. Are you with me? Okay, right. Write persistence logic. Write persistence logic using session object. Using session object and entity class objects. Using session object and entity class objects. Are you getting my point there? Super. Write persistence logic using session object and entity class objects, boss. Next one is what? Perform transaction management. Perform transaction management. Okay. Next one. Close session comma session factory objects. Close session comma session factory object. Tell me, in all application, these three and last two are required or not required? Application to application, only this section will change, right? Only again common logics. Again here also common logics. Common logics. Now here what? Application specific logics. Application specific logic. Tell me. Developer should write both. Abstraction on plain ORM framework. Right, boss. Now tell me here, what is this? Create Hibernate template class object. Create Hibernate template class object. Yeah, this will take care of common logics, guys. Takes care of common logics. Takes care of common logics of ORM style persistence logic. ORM style persistence logic. Okay, ORM style persistence logic. Now tell me, develop persistence operation. Develop persistence logic using the objects of entity class. Our entity class means the class that is mapped with what? DB table. Takes care of. Takes care. Develop persistence logic using objects of entity class. Entity class. Now tell me here, boilerplate code problem is solved. Boilerplate code problem is solved. solved. No doubt, no doubt, problem is solved. But one more new problem is raised, guys. Are you listening my point? Limitation with Spring ORM code. Yes, it provides abstraction on multiple ORM frameworks, simplifies persistence logic development with the support of Hibernate template and other template codes. Okay, we are really, really happy, boss. One biggest limitation is there with what? Spring ORM framework. Spring ORM framework or module, guys. Yeah. Listen. If project is having 500 DB tables. Everyone, please focus. Let us assume my project is having 500 DB tables. My project is having what, guys? 500 DB tables. And we are looking to perform. CORD operations on all the DB tables. Okay, then we should develop 500 DAO interfaces. Okay, comma 500 DAO implementation classes. Listen. DAO implementation classes and 500 into, let us assume, commonly used persistence operation on every table are 9 to 10, guys. 500 into 10 methods. 500 into 10 methods having persistence logic. 500 into 10 methods having persistence logic, having common persistence logic activities. Okay, activities plus additional methods specific to additional methods in each DAO class, each DAO IMPL class specific to project requirement. Sir, I don't think 5 methods, 10 methods are required. Okay, let us assume completing most commonly used CORD operation, 6 methods only there. 6 methods only there. Are you listening my statement, guys? Now look at 1, 2 tables you forget. Think about your project is having 500 tables, guys. On every table, I am going to perform basic CORD operation, which are number 6 methods. Now tell me, 500 interfaces, 500 implementation classes. Now tell me, 500 implementation classes. In each class of 6 methods, 500 into 6, total how many methods you have to develop? 3000 method only taking care of common activities. 3000 methods only taking care of common activities. Agree with me? Are project specific advanced requirements will be there. Specific requirements will be there. Let us assume out of 100 tables or 100 tables, specific requirements also there. Special requirements are there. There are 1, 2 methods in 100 tables. Okay, these again 100 into 2, 200. So total 3,800 methods you should write on your own. Total 3,800 method I should write on our own, which is big challenging task or not? Which is big challenging task or not? Are you understanding my statement? Yes or no? I'm already enjoying abstraction. Compared to plain Hibernate, I am already enjoying abstraction here. Here, no boilerplate code, but still each and every method persistence logic I should write by using Hibernate template. If not from scratch level, but I should write something. Are you listening my statement? If not from scratch level, I should write something. Are you with me, guys? Now listen carefully. Now listen carefully. Don't give up. Spring Data JPA code. Spring Data JPA code. Spring Data JPA code. Just create a repository interface, a repository or DAO interface, extending from predefined repository interfaces. Predefined repository interface, extending from repository interface. Okay. Listen, guys, this predefined repository interface contains declaration of code operation methods. You need not to declare those methods. Are you understanding my statement? Declaration of code operation methods are there in predefined repository interface. In fact, more will be there. Are you understanding my point? So nearly, okay, 10 to 20 methods are there. That depends upon what kind of repository interfaces we are using. So we have different types of repository interfaces are there. What are those? I will reveal in a minute. Are there. Some interfaces use 5 methods, some interface use 9 methods, some interface use 20 methods. Some interfaces will take care of pagination and sorting activities also. They only give ready-made methods for it. Come on. Not a fixed interface. We have a multiple different types of this. Okay, all these methods will come to our interface now, boss. All these methods will come to our interface now, boss. Yes. Okay. Now listen carefully. Yeah. If needed, some custom methods. If needed, declare some custom methods. Not compulsory you should develop. If needed, okay. Declare some custom method. That's it. Okay. Custom method by following conventions. Coding convention. There are some conventions to follow. You have to. Conventions to follow. By following coding conventions. Yes. And you don't believe your work is done. Okay. So note now for 500 tables, for 500 DB tables, we just need to take 500, okay, custom repository interfaces. 500 custom repository interfaces having, come on guys, having optional custom method declarations. Optional custom method declaration. Hey, this is optional or mandatory? Code operations methods are coming automatically. Come on, guys. Okay, these are custom is our specific logic. Having optional custom method declarations. Having custom method declarations. Okay, now listen carefully. Implementation classes. Implementation classes for custom repository interfaces. Custom repository interfaces will be generated dynamically. Will be generated dynamically, providing persistence logics. Persistence logics for common methods. Common methods inherited from, come on guys, predefined repository interfaces, and also for custom methods declaration. Are you observing one thing, guys? Are you observing? Are you observing one thing, guys? When I have 500 tables, if I declare 500 interfaces, my story is over. My story is over. I need not to have implementation classes. Are you listening my statement? Are you feeling it or not? Are you feeling it or not? Spring Data JPA code, guys. Okay. Advantage with Spring Data JPA. Advantage with Spring Data JPA. Now you observe now. Now you observe now. Okay. 500 tables are there. Take 500 interfaces extending from one or other predefined repository interface, right? Okay. Now listen, if needed, if you want any custom requirement, not regular card operation, you need any specific custom requirement. Okay, you want to update specific column in specific condition. This kind of custom requirement, not regular card operations, right? Then declare 1 to custom methods. Okay, now listen carefully. Taking those 500 interfaces, developing 500 implementation classes, and implementing those methods inherited from predefined repository interfaces, implementing our custom method is not your responsibility. Everything is taken care by whom? Each and everything is taken care by whom? Spring Data JPA. All these implementation classes will come as what? In-memory classes. What classes, guys? In-memory classes. All these things will come as what? In-memory classes. Are you understanding my statement? That means your life is simplified or not? That means in future, in the place of DAO layer, what will be there, guys? Only interface will be there. No implementation class. Are you listening my statement or not? That means your life is going to be simplified life or not? I hope I am succeeded telling the importance of Spring Data JPA code, guys. Are you able to feel it? Okay, now listen. I want you people to feel plain Hibernate code, plain JDBC code, lot of boilerplate code, plain Hibernate code, lot of boilerplate code, Spring ORM code, boiler code is avoided, but still regular card operations for persistence logic for multiple table, I should sit and write. regular card operations related persistence logic for multiple tables, I should sit and write. Are you listening my statement or not? Okay. I should sit and write. So that means this is also one more kind of what? This is also another kind of boilerplate code. Another kind of boilerplate code. Agree with me? This is also another kind of boilerplate code. 500 tables on 500 tables performing 500 what? Insert, update, delete, select operations, code generation is also another kind of boilerplate code or not? Yeah, now listen carefully. Here 500 tables, 500 interfaces extending from predefined repository interfaces. These predefined repository interfaces are having common card operations related method declaration. Now they are inherited to our interfaces and taking our interface, providing implementation class, implementing methods having what? Persistence logic. Everything is now taken care by whom? Each and everything is now taken care by whom? Come on, guys. Spring Data JPA. So you are least bother about the entire process. So that means now onwards, we give instructions. We don't write the code. Based on the instructions, entire coding will be taken care by Spring Data JPA. Life is very simple or not? Okay. Plain Hibernate, plain JDBC is like washing clothes with hands. Spring ORM, washing clothes with semi-automated washing machine. Semi-automated washing machine. Are you understanding my point there? And Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA is a fully automated washing machine, guys. Is a fully automated washing machine. Agree with me? Okay. Right. Now listen. One more example of real life. Plain JDBC's plain Hibernate is like switching on the lights manually by going to each room, each place. Spring ORM is like switching on the lights with the remote. Remote based light control is possible. Spring Data JPA is like switching on the lights with the sensor technology. You entered the room, light is on. You exited the room, light is gone. Sensor technology, right? You just enter. Are you understanding my point? You clap, light is on. You clap twice, light is gone. Are you understanding my point? Okay. Implementation class for custom repository interfaces will be generated dynamically, providing persistence logics for common methods inherited from predefined reference interface. Also for what? Custom method declarations. All these operations are taken care by Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA using in-memory proxy classes. In-memory proxy classes. Okay, guys. In-memory proxy classes. Are custom methods are something like see, it is updating record by taking ID value as the criteria value. No, I want to update by having designation as the criteria value. Array, see boss, if they give 20 methods also as predefined method, do you think that does they cover your requirement? No guarantee, right? No guarantee. They are giving count of employees. Are you listening my statement? They are giving count of employees, entire table they are giving. No, I want to get the count of employee on specific condition. So they are the custom method declarations. And these custom methods logic also we don't write. Since we design those custom methods by following some coding conventions, for them also logic will be generated dynamically. For them also logic will be generated dynamically. Are you understanding my point? We will not write implementation classes. We will not see the implementation classes, but we can feel they are generated. We can feel they are generated. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Like auto configuration, boss. We can feel they are generated, but we never see them happening, right? Okay. So anyhow, discussion has come. Let me give clarity. What is in-memory class? In-memory class. First of all, you observe normal.java file. After compilation, you will get .class file. And we give this one to JVM. JVM loads the class. Come on, guys. JVM loads and executes the class. JVM loads class file. Okay, execution of class. Execution of class file. This is basic theory, guys. Now you observe. .java file is there in hard disk drive. .class file also generated in hard disk drive. Come on, guys. Hard disk drive. Okay, JVM loads .class file. It happens in what? JVM memory. JVM memory of RAM, right? Yeah, execution of .class file. Where it happens? JVM memory of RAM. Come on, guys. Come on. JVM memory of RAM. Yes. Array, those who have done lookup method injection with me, they are already aware of this. Okay, guys. Now listen. This is normal Java class, guys. Normal Java class. Normal Java class that you are seeing so far. Now I am talking about in-memory class. In-memory class. Array, why it is called in-memory? It is generated in the memory where application is running. Nothing but RAM. RAM level it is generated. That's why in-memory. In-memory. It is generated and executed in the memory where application is running. Nothing but JVM memory of the RAM memory, guys. Come on. Okay. Everything happens at JVM memory of RAM, guys. Now listen carefully, guys. Here, .java generation, source code generation. At what time? JVM level. JVM memory of RAM. Okay, actually we run the application, guys. We run the application. So then what? Source code generation takes place. Source code generation. JVM memory of RAM, guys. JVM memory of RAM. Array, no need of highlighting RAM every time. Okay, next. Compilation. This also happens in what? JVM memory of the RAM. Okay. So what about loading and execution, guys? Loading and execution also takes place where? JVM memory of the RAM. So overall, can you see that class? Can you see that source code? Can you see that byte code? No. No, that's why these classes are in-memory classes. What class, guys? In-memory classes. Now tell me, since they are coming on temporary basis, array, when application begins, JVM starts, guys. Once application execution over, JVM ends. Okay, that means this in-memory class also disappears or not. But you take this class, guys. You take .java .class files of this class. They will be there permanently in the hard disk or not until we delete them physically, right? But what about lifespan of this in-memory class, guys? When application begins execution, come on. When application begins execution, this class will be generated. When application completes execution, this class will disappear, right? So it's coming on permanent basis or temporary basis? Temporary basis. So temporary things are called proxies or not? Temporary things are called proxies. That's the reason people calls it as in-memory proxy class. That's the reason people calls it as what? In-memory proxy class. Are you understanding my point? Yes. Array, you asked your friend. You asked your friend to give your attendance in your absence. He will do every time or only few times? Only few times. That too in your absence, right? So he's on permanent basis or temporary basis? Temporary basis. So that's why you will be called as your proxy or not? He will be called as proxy or not? Come on, guys. He will be called as your proxy or not? Are you listening my statement, boss? Similarly, instead of you giving interview, you ask your friend to give your interview, and your friend is permanently giving interview or on temporary basis he is giving the work? On temporary basis. So you can call you can call your friend as your proxy or not? Okay, guys. Now, this source code, this byte code, permanent or temporary with respect to normal class? Permanent, right? With respect to in-memory class, the generated source code, the compiled code is permanent or temporarily? Temporarily. So we can call them as proxy or not? So final conclusion from my side is, note, Spring Data JPA uses proxy design pattern to generate. Array, those who have done design patterns with me, proxy design pattern we discussed or not? Yes, uses proxy design pattern to generate implementation classes of programmer supplied DAOR. Array, slowly forget about DAO wording and please remember repository wording. Come on. Programmer supplied DAOR repository interfaces. Come on. DAOR repository interfaces as in-memory proxy classes. As in-memory proxy classes. As in-memory proxy classes dynamically at runtime. So that means while working with Spring Data JPA, the persistence layer just contains DAO oblique repository interfaces having few custom methods declaration. I think everyone convinced with the last one, guys. Array, look at how much time will be saved, boss. Think about how much time will be saved. I have 500 tables. If it is plain JDBC or plain Hibernate or Spring ORM or Spring JDBC, I have to develop 500 interfaces, 500 implementation classes. In each implementation classes, on and average 10 methods I should implement, right? So nearly 3000 methods I should write. Maybe in plain JDBC, plain Hibernate, we don't enjoy abstraction. In Spring ORM, Spring JDBC, we enjoy abstraction. I agree that. But still, you have to develop those 3000 methods, right? Still, we have to develop those 3000 methods. The persistence layer just contains, guys. The persistence layer just contains DAO repository interfaces having few custom method declarations. Okay, guys. Now listen. Okay, guys. Next one. If we go for Spring Data JPA, what happens, guys? If I go for Spring Data JPA, what happens, guys? 500 tables, 500 interfaces. Over. End of the story. End of the story. You need not to do anything. You need not to do anything, but you can happily call those methods what you declare. Are you understanding? What you declare in the interfaces in the service class. You can enjoy them while writing business logic. You can enjoy wherever you want, however you want. So much time will be saved, boss. And you don't believe in the whatever interfaces we extend from, some of those interfaces are having advanced method declarations like pagination and sorting also. If you call those methods sorting of the data, they only take care. If you call those method pagination, help is there. Your life is going to be very, very simple, guys. And moreover, these repository interfaces not only there for what SQL database software. These repository interfaces are even there to work with what NoSQL database software. MongoDB related repository interfaces are there, taking care of MongoDB activities in a common way. Cassandra related repository interfaces are there, taking care of Cassandra DB activities in a common way. So that's the reason I said Spring Data is a unified model to interact with both SQL and NoSQL database software, enjoying the abstraction. I think you learned something in today's class. Why people are crazy about Spring Data JPA? You understood? Yes. Those who are having stand-up calls, they can leave the class. Those are having stand-up calls, they can leave the class. Santosh, in Spring Data JPA, we can use @query to write JPQL queries. In Spring Data JPA also, we can write JPQL queries, native SQL queries. Possible. On the top of custom method declarations, we can specify the query to use. You can specify query to use. Array, Spring Data JPA can be used in Spring Boot Data JPA also. Don't worry. Spring Data JPA is nothing but Spring Boot Data JPA. Come on, guys. Okay. Spring Boot Data JPA. Happy, yeah? Array, Spring Boot is an approach of developing application, Ra Babu. Again, don't ask me, sir. Here also you read Spring Boot ORM code. Array, Spring Boot an approach of developing Spring application. Something possible in Spring, also possible in Spring Boot. Please. If I don't highlight also, you please remember that. Right, guys. Thank you. Tomorrow, I think I spent 2 sessions to tell the importance of Spring Boot Data JPA, right? Okay. Right. Santosh, switching from SQL to NoSQL, I don't think that will solve the problem, boss. No. Santosh, Spring Data JPA is not given to switch SQL to NoSQL easily. No. That's not like that. That's not like that. So Spring JPA word is not there, Silpa. Spring JPA word is not there. Spring ORM word is there. Spring ORM word is there. Array, see guys, I have video links, but I didn't categorize. Okay, since it's a minute work, I'm daily neglecting it. Okay, today evening I will remember and I will do. Tomorrow I will give. It's not like that I don't have videos, but I have to categorize them. Okay, since it's some drafting work, I'm simply ignoring it. Okay. Kundan Kumar, Spring Data REST is different. Spring Data REST is different. Please. Okay. As it shows, if you want to enjoy Spring Data JPA, you should have a strong Hibernate knowledge. Strong Hibernate knowledge. Without Hibernate knowledge, you cannot enjoy Spring Data JPA. Because what concepts are there in Hibernate, same thing reflects here. Entity classes development is still our responsibility, Ra Babu. And if you want to develop proper entity classes, proper mapping mechanism, definitely required. Thank you. Prakash Kumar, contact admin. Okay, just ask for the new batches of Angular or React, you will get the timings. If those batch timings are in my mind, if they give to my knowledge, I will announce. Okay, guys. Rajesh Magar, only for legacy projects, only Spring JDBC UDOs are benefit for you. Otherwise, it's waste of spending time on Spring JDBC after looking at Spring Data JPA. After enjoying the benefits of Spring Data JPA, you never find importance of Spring JDBC. But still we have to learn by keeping legacy projects, by keeping maintenance projects in mind. Thank you guys. Have a nice time.